Hey guys, welcome back to part 5 of my type variety set. We're into the half dollars, which is pretty much my favorite denomination of coins. Starting out here with an oldie, an 1806 bus dime. These were produced from 1796 to 1807. And this, of course, is not in the greatest condition. It's about a good 4. But as you know, these are not cheap coins. So get what you can. And, you know, I actually like these. Even in this kind of condition, it's neat to have these. Moving on to the capped bus half dollars. These were produced from 1807 to 1836. Here's an 1808 and about a fine 12. And I kind of suspect this one has some cleaning to it, as does the next one. This one's kind of a special coin for me. 1829 capped bust. This was really one of the first old coins I bought when I started collecting. I got this back in 1988 for only $33. The dealer did admit it was cleaned, but I liked the way it looked. Really halfway decent detail on it. Got it down at about a very fine 20. But there's lots of feathers there in the eagle yet. But like I say, it's a special coin for me because of one of the first old coins I bought when I started collecting. Next up, we got a 1836. This one is lettered edge. And we're at about a fine 12 on this one. There's about 6.5 million of these produced. Then in 1836 to 1839, they started making them just a tad smaller, actually the size of what a 50-cent piece is now. Here's 1837, and extremely fine. And you can see 50 cents is written down here. And then one more in that era, the 1838. And this one's at about a very fine 20. About 3.5 million were produced. And there they added the half dollar at the bottom versus the 50 cents. Moving on to seated half dimes. And these were produced 1839 to 1891. And of course, if you do some coin collecting already, you know that there's a bunch of varieties here. I'm building a Dansko book with kind of like one of each variety. This is an 1842 small date and about a very fine 30. About 2 million of these were produced. Next up, the 1853 with arrows and rays, which actually is 1853-0. And about a fine 12, and actually one of my favorite coins. I Love the rays on the back. And actually, this one isn't the O. This is the 1853 P in an XF40. I moved the 1853 O with arrows and rays into my Dansko book. But again, really pretty coin. And of course, the arrows designated a change in weight, in the silver weight on these coins. And next we got 1854 with arrows in an extra fine. And they removed the rays. And just under 3 million of these were produced. Next up, the 1858 O. This is about a VG8. There were a little over 7 million of these produced. Not in the greatest shape. One of the things to look for here is Liberty. Kind of how much of that is worn away kind of gives you an indication of how good they are. This one is only a VG8. And there is the old mint mark. And finally in my seededs is an 1877 San Francisco. Back to pretty decent details on this, extremely fine. And the S mint mark down there. Moving on to the Barber or Liberty head. These were 1892 to 1915. There really weren't many varieties, so for my typeset I went with first and last years, and then one of each of the mint marks, which was Philadelphia, no mint mark, New Orleans, Denver, and San Francisco. And these are all in pretty decent shape. We've got an XF40 here. I love the reverse of Barber. The dimes, the quarters, and the 50-cent piece. And there was about 935,000 of these made. So fairly kind of a key date in the series. Next up is 1900 O. And there was about 2.7 million of these made. This is a very fine 20. And then the final year of production for the Barber, 1912D. This one's coming in at about an XF40. 2.3 million of these were made. And there's our mint mark. And I'm sorry, that wasn't the final year. 1915 was the final year, which is up next in a San Francisco mint mark. And there's your S mint mark down there. Some nice luster left in this coin, with a little bit of toning on the edges. Next up are our walking liberties. They were produced in 1916 to 1947. The first couple are not in great condition, but they're rarer coins. 1917 with the obverse mint mark, which is the mint mark right down there, S. There was 950,000 of these produced. They get a little pricey in high grades. So this one, this is at about a fine 12, which might be pushing it a little bit. Really no detail left on the gown. And then also in 1917, they made it with the mint mark on the reverse. And this is a S mint also. And these had 5.5 million made. So quite a difference between the obverse and reverse mint mark. And there's our mint marks on these right down here. Getting into a little better looking ones here. 1936. 12.6 million of these were made. And this one is considered brilliant uncirculated by the seller. Pretty good cartwheeling on that. I've got a Dansko book of the short set. I'll show you that in a future video. If you're looking for a Dansko book that you can complete without spending a ton of money, the short set of Walking Liberties is a good way to go. You can get some really nice coins for a pretty decent price. Next up is 1938 O. Actually, that's a D, 1938 D. This one's kind of a key date. It's like 491,000 of these were produced. And again, there's our mint mark down there. Still just a touch of cartwheeling left on that one. Next up, another real nice one, 1941 S, and about a mint state 63. And of course, there's our mint mark. And finally, the final year of the Walking Liberties, 1947. And again, we're looking at a mint state 63 or so. A few bad bag marks right there, but and finally, for the Walking, 1947 D, and about an XF40, 3.9 million made. And next, moving on to the Franklin half dollars. And these, of course, were 1948 to 1963. And again, I've got a Dansko book of complete Franklins. This is a 1948, 3 million produced. This one's about an MS-64. And that's another good set if you want to collect a full set in a Dansko book or another type of book. A full set of Franklins is easily obtainable. Again, depending on your grade. There's some real nice cartwheeling on that one. And a 1948D. This one isn't in as good condition. 4 million of these were made. This one's an AU, maybe an AU 50. But even at AU, you can still see some nice cartwheeling. Next up, 1949S and a mid-stage 60. A few bad spots on there. I believe this one's kind of considered a semi-key date, but there were 3.7 million produced. And of course, up here is our mint mark. And that one is an S. And I've got it listed as a, no, I do have it listed as an S, 1949S. And next up is a 1956 full bell lines proof. And of course, the full bell lines refers to these bottom set of lines. Do they go all the way across uninterrupted? And that's, I'm not sure if she'll focus this close or not. Yep, it will. Yeah, the seller had it as full bell lines. I'm not too sure about that. It looks like we got a break right there. And we got a 1962 proof. And it's semi-cameo with a nice fingerprint right there. Cameo is not going to show up too well on the camera. And then the final year, 1963. Mint State 63 here. 25.2 million. You can see we getting up there in the amount of coins that were produced. And finally, for the Franklin's 1963D in an MS-63. And of course, now moving on to the Kennedy half dollars, 1964 to present. And of course, in 1964, they were still silver. And we got one in about an MS-60 state. And then a 1964D. And our mint mark is right down there. And then a 1964 special mint set proof. And then a 1965 MS-65. And a 1968D. $246,951,000. And a 1968 S proof. And a 1970D. This has been an interesting coin. There were no 1970Ds released for circulation. And the value of this coin has jumped all over the place. I paid $19 for it back in 2005, and it's gone up and down and up and down. So, and then we got into the bicentennial ones. Again, I've collected a lot of the bicentennial stuff, quarters, half dollars, dollars. They're really not overly valuable, but I guess I remember the bicentennial was a big deal. Fireworks, the Freedom Train. So I just like having. So I've got a pretty big variety of different. This one, I believe, is a copper nickel. And this one is the S Mint mark in silver. And then we got 1987D, which is kind of similar to the 1970D, not issued for circulation. This one hasn't done much in value. I figured throw it in there. And then we got the 1987P. And the 2014 W reverse proof. And to be honest, when I first saw pictures of reverse proofs, they did not impress me at all. Then I saw one in real life and really fallen in love with reverse proof coins. And this one is a beauty. putting it at a 63. And then 2018 S reverse proof. And then finally, a commemorative. When I first started collecting, I collected a few commemoratives and kind of quickly learned that they do not hold their value very well. I've lost some money on commemoratives. But I was a big nut into this Apollo space program when I was little. And this coin intrigued me because of the, I don't know if you can see it there, it's kind of bent on an angle and indented on this side. So it wasn't overly expensive, so I figured let's get it and throw it in the typeset. It is actually quite an interesting looking coin, though. I do kind of like it. So that's it for my 50-cent pieces. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. Try and get some more viewers. Next up and last up are the dollars with some biggies in there. So stay tuned for that, and we'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.